Hello, merhaba, Istanbul, and thank you very much for having me here today. I am, my name is MCMAHON, and I am from Ireland, and as Ebru may have said some nice sentences about me there, I'm not too sure, but I do like wine, and I had my first glass of Turkish wine yesterday, and I had my second one today, and so you need to do a little bit more about promoting your wine in Europe, and maybe I can help you promote it in Ireland, because it was very, very nice. So anyway, I am here to talk in the next 10 minutes about my journey through gastronomic tourism or food tourism, and I suppose the event that I organize, of which Ebru spoke at a number of years ago. Now, this is me on one of my tireder days, and I have 3 restaurants, and they're all under the banner of EatGalway. And one restaurant has a Michelin star. The other 2 are more casual. So we are very interested in gastronomy, particularly in our Michelin star restaurant. 80% of our guests are American, so food tourism means a lot. But most important is the festival or the symposium that I run, and I will explain to you in a moment about that. So this is my Michelin star restaurant, İR. We opened it in 2011, which is 11 years ago. It won a Michelin star in 2012. And for me, almost by accident, it was the beginning of my journey into gastronomic tourism and being an ambassador for Irish food. Because the same year that we won a Michelin star, I was invited to go to Canada as part of a group of ambassadors or champions. This is me when I was young and beautiful there, so I'm not like that anymore. I just put that one in. I was also skinny then as well, but listen, we can all try. But this year, 2012, was a very important year, I think, for food tourism in Ireland, okay? And it was because the state agency, Fáilte Ireland, picked 6 or 12 people to represent different regions of Ireland. They did this in 2012, they did it in 2013, and I think the last year was 2014. And each year, the group would go on a trip. So we went to Canada, and we explored Canada for a week, met producers, industry professionals, and tried to learn from them. So this is me with a pig's head, and two events that I encountered because of being a food champion with Fáilte Ireland. One was called Terroir, which is an event, a symposium, not unlike this symposium that is held in Toronto once a year. And I spoke at that in 2013. The other event was Cook It Raw, and Cook It Raw brought together 10 or 15 chefs and brought them around the world to different places. And I took part in Cook It Raw in 2013 in Charlestown in the USA. And we went there, we spent a week, we investigated the food culture, and then at the end of the week we produced a meal based on our understanding of that food culture. So we were kind of immersed in it for a week. Move on to 2014, and the genesis of the idea of Food on the Edge began to, I suppose, enter into my mind. I suppose I wondered, and possibly like many of you who are Turkish, I wondered why wasn't Ireland famous for food tourism? Why weren't people coming to Ireland for food? Because every time I went somewhere else and they told me the food was great, I would say, well, we have better back in Ireland. And I'm sure you could say the same about your wine and your cheese and your olives and your oil. Why do people know French wine better than they know Turkish wine? Of course, it's historical circumstance. But going into the future, if we do nothing, then that will just continue to repeat itself. So knowing that the Nordic food movement was in full bloom, I engaged with a number of Nordic chefs, 3 of which are here, and now they're my very good friends, to help me put on this event. Because everyone knew where Copenhagen was, but nobody knew where Ireland or Galway was, and what was the food. So in 2015, we held Food on the Edge for the first year, and we brought 50 chefs from all over the world to Galway, which is a tiny town in the west of Ireland with a population of 80,000. And nobody believed it could be done. These were 3 Michelin, 50 best chefs, 50 of them. And they would all talk for 15 minutes, and we held it in a circus tent in the main city. There was about an audience of 300 people. And the event went very well. I think I was young and idealistic. I was like that. I was young and idealistic. Now I'm tired and older. But anyway, 2015 went very well. We had great support from the government, from the tourist agency, everyone. And of course, 2016 we had even greater known chefs. And we had Massimo Bottura come and speak to us, amongst many other chefs. And of course, as I see my own time going down here, I am well used to trying to get people off stage. And I like the music here, because then at least you know you have to stop talking. We let the chefs talk for 15 minutes, and Massimo talked for about 45. And his wife told me, "You don't stop God from speaking." And I said, "Okay, no problem." And we just left him there. And he just kept talking, and when he was finished, he was finished. So I understand the pain of trying to get someone off stage. But I have 6 minutes left, and don't worry, I'll be gone. Because it's not fair. And then 2017, I really feel was the apex of what we were trying to do. Okay, it was our 3rd year. Food on the Edge was internationally known. We brought Magnus Nielsen. Robin Gill is a famous Irish chef in London. We had an awful lot of motivation in building this ideal food gastronomic experience, and where would it be, and we were talking about all this. And I don't know what happened after 2017, or what happened with in the world, or in general. But in 2018, we got less support from the government. The government decided to change its strategy, and it went from thinking about food tourism to food in tourism, which I don't know what that meant. It kind of meant that we weren't going to care so much about food. We were going to still care about it, but it was going to be in tourism, not food tourism. And so we continued to try. We brought Food on the Edge, a very small aspect of Food on the Edge, to New York in 2018. We went to the Empire State Building. And even though there was only 6 or 7 of us in the room, if you do something in the Empire State Building, everyone thinks you're important, no matter whether or not you're important. So 2018 was a turning point in my own thinking about how we could move Food on the Edge forward. Up to that point, we had been very, very much chef-focused, focusing on Michelin stars, the 50 best, very, very high-caliber chefs. And what happened in 2018 and 2019 was that we began to turn to chefs who were less known, and who had an interest in, I suppose, what we all call now social gastronomy, or trying to change food socially, or to bring food more into the cultural sphere. Because I still think that's something that we lack in Ireland. We all eat, as everyone else eats, but food is still not as big a cultural experience as it is in Italy, France, or Spain. And they're all the countries that we hold up, and these are the ones we want to be like. And there's your own wonderful Ibru doing an amazing job. But all of these women, we're all talking about food in hospitals, food in children, like food in food in the immigrant experience in an urban environment. And Ibru was talking about food and immigration as well as as well as Turkish food. We continue to grow, I think, sideways. And again, we went to London. We reached out to different Irish chefs in London. There's a great diaspora of Irish people around the world, as many of you will know. And I suppose for me, it was never enough just to convince ourselves. And I don't know if Turkish people have this habit that Irish people have. So if your neighbor tells you you're great, it doesn't mean anything. But if someone from New York tells you you're great, that's really important, okay? And we have this issue in Ireland where we're never comfortable in our own skin, and we always need external gratification. And maybe this is why we would bring Food on the Edge to other countries. So I wanted them to know how good Ireland was. One thing that came out of Food on the Edge, almost like a side project, was I got a book deal to write like a history of Irish food, which I did. And when the book has 480 recipes, okay? And when the book was, we were talking about the proposal or the deal, one of the editors, who was based in New York, said, well, there must be like 4 or 5 Irish recipes. You couldn't write a book on it. They don't really care about food, do they? And so we proved them wrong. And no more than the great food tradition that is in Turkey that people do not know about, there is 10,000 years of people eating in Ireland that also needs to be uncovered more. And my book is just one element in this constant exploration of what we can find when we look into